Hello and welcome to Commissioner's Corner. I'm Commissioner Charlotte Garrido, and today we're going to move a little bit away from some of the policy discussions we've had and talk specifically about county government. We have a lot of functions in Kitsap County on behalf of the citizens that we serve. Our mission is to provide for the health, welfare, and safety of Kitsap County citizens, and we want to do that in an efficient and effective manner. So here's an organizational chart of county government that shows you all of the departments, all of the elected officials across the top, and specifically the Kitsap County Commissioner's Office is what I want to talk to you about today. So now you're going to be seeing the organizational chart of our own department. You know, the three-member Board of County Commissioners is responsible for legislative and executive functions of county government, and there's a little subnote there that says, and all administrative functions that are not assigned to any other department or elected official. So we oversee directly we oversee directly 8 departments. Those include Department of Administrative Services, which manages our budget and finances, and the Department of Community Development, which is about community planning and building, and some of the permitting functions, natural resources. Human Services is about families and special needs, and on the chart you'll see that they oversee or coordinate the Area Agency on Aging, Youth and Family Services, Veteran Services, Developmental Disabilities, Substance Abuse Prevention, and our Community Development Block Grant, to name a few. Our Parks Department, as you know, has some 79 parks across the county of all sizes, and they are responsible to maintain those and help develop some of the programs. Public Works is visible to most of you in terms of roads and solid waste, sewer facility utilities, surface and stormwater management, and solid waste. Facilities manages all of the buildings that belong to county government, some of the properties and all of the buildings. Human Resources works with our personnel, our labor relations and training projects, and Information Services is all about communications, whether it's computers, GIS, Geographic Information Systems, Kitsap One, and more. So that's a broad range of responsibilities for the county commissioners. And as you know, in the past few years, we've had an economic downturn that caused us to pull back on some of the services that we offered, literally closing our administrative offices one day a week and reducing the hours of most of our employees. So one of the things the board has been doing in the last couple of years as we're beginning to stabilize more is to look very strategically at some of the lessons we learned during that difficult time, and where were some of the efficiencies that we were finding, and how did we do it? Lean process improvement is a program that has developed a very robust reputation across county departments as being well implemented in many departments. We also looked at leadership continuity, as many of our directors and senior managers are beginning to retire or looking at retirement. How do we replace their function, and do we want to redefine it all as we go forward? How are our departments organized? Are they doing the efficient and effective government that we want to be very proud of? And what kinds of changes might be necessary? We talked to the other elected officials, we talked to the directors, we talked to many employees, and the very single common theme was we had a county administrator, and during the downturn we cut that back. And that is a function that we need, with the 3 commissioners having so much responsibility. It's really important for us to have a unifier across some of the administrative functions that we are responsible for. And we began to look at our organizational chart, and it was pretty clear that there's a definition between some of our community serving departments and some of our internal operations for county government. And we redefined our county administrator job to be able to attend much more fully to those administrative functions that we provide on behalf of Kitsap County government and to our citizens. So we did advertise for a county administrator. I'm really delighted today to be able to introduce to you our new county administrator, Karen Goon. Karen has been with us, as she will tell you, all of 8 days when we do this interview. We are delighted to have someone of her caliber in the position in Kitsap County. Welcome, Karen, and why don't you tell us about those first 8 days?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm very, very pleased and excited to be here. It's kind of been my mantra in the last 8 days, and I truly am. Kitsap County is a lovely place to live and work in, and I'm very pleased to be here. My first 8 days has been a whirlwind of introduction of new faces and new departments and structures, and getting myself familiar with the organization, particularly my responsibilities. I would like to add that when I came from Pierce County government. I spent 25 years there, and when I made the announcement that I would be coming to Kitsap County, I had many employees who were former Kitsap County employees come to me and say I would really enjoy it. I would find the employees at Kitsap County very welcoming and friendly, and I found that to be the case.
Could I insert that I had a lot of phone calls from people in Pierce County saying, you stole Karen from us. So you come with an excellent, excellent reputation.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about your background, if you wouldn't mind.
I originally trained to be an attorney, and I went to law school after college, and while I was in law school, started an internship in state government, which kind of pointed me down the path of working for a government or municipality. When I left law school and passed the bar, I started as another internship with the Pierce County then Public Works Department, which was then just transportation. That position led me to a deputy prosecutor position, advising the then sewer utility. I went back to school for a master's degree, and once I obtained the master's degree, I was asked if I'd like to be deputy director of the combined Public Works and Utilities Department, where transportation services and sewer utility was merged together. I spent 6 years in that position with some side assignments thrown in. For a short period of time, I was the interim director of the medical examiner's office for Pierce County, and did some organizational studies for other departments. When my director retired, Director of Public Works and Utilities, John Trent, retired, I moved to the County Executive's office to work with County Executive John Ladenburg on regional transportation issues and the development of the Chambers Bay Golf Course, and the Chambers Creek properties. After Executive Ladenburg left office, I went back to the Public Works and Utilities Department and became their Administrative Services Manager, where I handled issues regarding administration, financial and budgetary matters, equipment services, public records, and contract compliance. So I felt that that experience gave me a perfect opportunity when this position as county administrator came open to apply, and I'm so happy that I was successful.
Oh, we are too. It's September, your 8th day in the job, and the rest of September is going to be spent in budget hearings.
Yes.
And we've already heard some excellent input from you as we've begun to lay out the budget process. How do you see the rest of the budget process playing out?
It was a great, not surprise. Surprise isn't the right word, but it was very comforting to see that Kitsap's budget process was very well defined, very well laid out. The Department of Administration staff has put together some excellent presentation and encapsulated the information that was submitted by the department and the outside agencies in a logical and professional presentation. And so I see the budget process, aside from the difficult discussions that will have to occur in terms of making the ultimate budget balance once adopted, is going very, very smoothly.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your astute questions as we proceed through this. We have appointed, each of the commissioners appoints one citizen representative as well, as having you at the dais as we are listening to each of the departments. It's always a good conversation and helps us to really fully examine the short-term and long-term benefits of different kinds of views.
The budget process is often used as an opportunity to let departments talk about their mission and their programs, and I'm really looking forward to learning more.
Excellent.
I've sat down and had some conversations with some department directors, but you can only learn so much in an hour, so sitting through the budget process and listening to those presentations will help fill out my education.
And it'll also give you a juxtaposition of how each of the departments works in relation and separately.
Correct. Yes.
And we have a great budget department that helps put together some terrific information for us to base those opinions on. So I'm looking forward to sitting side by side and looking at the budget in the next weeks and months.
Yes.
So a few minutes ago, you mentioned your first 8 days and how much you've learned and observed in that time. How do you see the next month, 3 months, 6 months in this position?
The next 3 months we'll be continuing to learn more about the county organization. I'm looking forward to going out and taking additional tours of county departments. I would like to go out and meet with the separately elected officials and tour their facilities and get familiar with their operations. I would like to be able to look at the work plans that the departments have put together and look at the work plans that the Board of Commissioners has put together and see how those work plans mesh and coordinate and look for opportunities where I might add value to that process. I would like to have a conversation about the board and their 2015 work plan and where they would like to go and where they would like staff to help them go for 2015. So I'm hoping to do that in the next 3 months. In the next 6 months, it'll be implementing the budget and intaking and processing the daily operation of the county and making sure that my role in it is done smoothly and promptly. So it's more of a, the more of a get to know you process will continue, probably beyond the 6 months and into the following years.
So how do you see maybe the unifying of some of our internal services across appointed and elected departments, you know, the budget and information services and facilities, for example. Some of those services all cross all of our departments, and yet some departments use very different methods than others. Is there some way that we can learn from from innovations and maybe push the innovations a little further?
Absolutely. I think our Internal Services Department, IS, Department of Administrative Services, personnel, all provide services to the elected officials throughout Kitsap County. They do it very well. From what I've been able to observe, those 3 departments are staffed by very dedicated, hardworking individuals. They don't own all the processes. There are some processes that are owned by other separately elected officials, and where we can integrate is something that I'll be looking at with those department directors. I want to be able to capitalize on the existing great relationships that they have with the elected officials and champion their desires and opportunities for changing processes where they need to be changed.
Well, we have had some really innovative things, and I think that you're going to see them really pop out during the budget process. For example, one of the things that we've looked back at over the years is district court has gone increasingly so that they're very paperless, and have automated a lot of functions that used to require a lot more money and a lot more time. I don't know that would apply directly to every single department, but beginning to learn about them makes it a lot easier to know how to coordinate.
there are a lot of great opportunities that are being implemented throughout the state in similar departments and similar functions, where we can look at opportunities where we can borrow ideas and implement them in Kitsap is a wonderful thing to do and focus on. And
Sure.
so as the department directors go out, and if there's a forum, and I think there are several that exist already, as the department directors go out and go through training and talk to their counterparts, and there is a great opportunity and energy around bringing those ideas back and implementing them in Kitsap County.
But also we're doing some internal work with lean process improvement.
You are.
And so the way that happens with the department is they bring folks together from the department. They take some training about how to do some critical thinking.
Right.
And then they literally map across the wall every step of every process of every project that they do. And why don't you talk about your experience and your knowledge about that?
When I was working for Pierce, for Public Works and Utilities, we were starting to dabble in lean, and I was project sponsor on several different lean projects. One of the consultants I was working with talked about Kitsap and how she had worked with the Department of Community Development and taken a process that was thousands of steps and reduced it down to 8. And
say that again, thousands of steps.
Thousands of steps, or probably not thousands. That might be, that I'd probably want to truth test that one a little bit. But at least a process map that stretched many, many feet, at least 20 feet, and reduce that down to steps that could fit on an 8.5 and 11 sheet of paper. That was one of the pleasant surprises when I came to Kitsap, was realizing to the extent that the county had implemented lean and lean philosophy. I think what you will find in certain organizations, and this extends to both probably the private sector as well, there is very few opportunities for an organization to look back and understand why they do something. And I think the lean process and the incorporation of the lean philosophy into the organization gives employees and empowers employees that opportunity to look back and ask themselves, why do we do it that way? Do we have to do it that way? Can we do it quicker? Can we do it more efficiently? And seeing that lean philosophy embedded in the organization was a wonderful surprise and a wonderful revelation in day one.
Cool.
So the other day we had a report out on one particular process improvement project where I could see firsthand the involvement across departments. I could see firsthand the enthusiasm that was involved in all the participants and how much they appreciated being able to add value and how excited they were to implement the immediate corrections that they identified, and plus they had a dedication to seeing the long-term improvements put into place. I know for some people who are watching at home that will seem like an elementary thing, but when you're working with a multi-layered organization, that can be difficult. And having the lean process available and the lean tools that the county employees were trained on is critical to that success.
It is, and as we in each of our departments are embedded in the tasks that we perform and trying to do them better, we build on top of practices that maybe we don't question quite enough along the way. So having this very focused opportunity for everyone in the department to examine why we individually and as a department go through these steps is really rich, and now we're to the point where we're going across departments and making those kinds of comparisons as well.
Right, right. I think there are some that are going to probably look at lean as being the next big management fad and be prone to dismiss it, but that's not the case that I've seen in Kitsap. I've seen employees that have been in the organization a long time embrace the idea. They embrace the idea of positive change that can be effective quickly. And that's the other pleasant revelation that I had in day 2, was that the organization, because of its size and because of the way it's structured, there's an agility to it that you may not see in other larger organizations. And so the ability to, and that falls in with the lean process as well, the ability to identify what needs to be changed and to affect that change. And have confidence that the changes that you make through the lean process are meaningful and are well thought out and well analyzed.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually agree. One of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we are a good size to be able to have that agility, whether it's within county government or whether it's across the whole county and relating with one another and other organizations. We live in a beautiful location.
Yes.
And we are right-sized to be able to be agile, to do things well together and succeed and count our successes.
Yes.
That said, I've been talking work with you all along, and you're working in a new county, a new community for you. Are you getting out to see some of the beautiful natural resources and wonderful people that we have across our county?
That will probably be within, I will hope to fit that in as time permits. I am somewhat familiar with Kitsap. I have family in the Bainbridge Island area. And so I have some familiarity with Kitsap, but I certainly could use a lot more. And I'm looking forward to opportunities to gain that as time goes on.
So I'm sure that people who are watching today are going to offer you suggestions, but from county government standpoint, we have some wonderful parks, and even just starting there, we have not so much pocket parks anymore, but we have regional parks and heritage parks. Lots of opportunities to get out and enjoy this beautiful natural landscape. And of course, since we're a peninsula, we have lots of salt water and activities along the beaches as well. So we hope to be able to show off some fun stuff to you, as well as making sure that you're helping us be as efficient and accountable as possible.
I'm looking forward to it, as long as it doesn't involve my swimming. I'm not a great swimmer, so looking out at the water is a great thing from my perspective.
Well, we have just been named a National Water Trail, so maybe some kayaking would work for you.
But as long as personal flotation devices are involved, I'm there.
That's great. Well, it's just such a delight to have you here. Are there any other surprises in county government or particular initiatives that you might want to help the commissioners see?
All my surprises have been pleasant. I don't think I've come across anything where I've scratched my head and had paused. I've been very impressed with the technology investments that the commissioners have made. The use of technology and the keeping current despite the economic difficulties that the Kitsap County has experienced, as well as all over the state and the nation. Keeping current with technology to make sure that we're using the tools to collaborate properly, and keeping up with our mandates in terms of managing information was very impressive. And I'm so glad that IS is one of the departments I get to manage, because I can see that they do great things already.
Any initiatives that you wanted to alert the commissioners to?
You know, one of the things that I had talked about with the commissioners on day 5 was looking for opportunities to be able to tell the Kitsap story and broaden the opportunities that we have with BCAT, and looking at our internet presence and making sure that we have tools available for the citizens to know what Kitsap County government is doing. That's one of the areas that I'll be looking at. I loved Kitsap 1. I took a tour of that the other day, and now understand better what Kitsap 1 does. So looking at ways where I can provide value in how we communicate with our citizens, and looking at ways on how I can integrate myself into the board's operations, and making sure that I provide value in communicating with both the departments that face outward to the public and the departments that face inwards to the other county departments and elected officials.
I think that's wonderful, and the fact that you will be coordinating those administrative functions will help us and you to be able to put together the information that citizens would like to hear. They want to know that we, as their local government, is close enough to them that they can talk to us about issues that they care about, but also that we can talk to them about the ways that we are managing their public business. So I look forward to working with you on that kind of conversation. We did just bring on a neighborhood planner for South Kitsap that will help us put together neighborhood groups more than it currently exists, and be able to make a better linkage between folks who live in their communities and their ability to talk to the county government. It will also be eventually, once we get some kind of a model established, will be county-wide. So I'm looking forward to working with you on that and many, many more projects.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today, Karen.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that citizens will be contacting you as well to welcome you to the Kitsap community. Thank you for being here today. We've loved talking with you and telling you a little bit more about Kitsap County government and how the Board of County Commissioners helps you stay in touch. See you next time.